traitor. You're a traitor.
Hey everybody, welcome to an all-new episode of your favorite reaction show, X is for Show. You can check us out on the Soch at X is for Show. As for me, I'm Nico, and you can check me out at Nico Action. That's Nicoation.
And as for me, I'm a fucking traitor, and you can find me at TK Elemental.
I'm your producer, Kev. I'm your producer, Kevo. I am a faithful, and you can find me at Kevo Really, Jojo.
And I have a problem interrupting people, and you can follow me everywhere at Peak Jonah. That's P-E-A-K.
So you're Alan Cumming.
Oh yeah, okay. You're the oncoming. I'll accept that.
So we are here to discuss what can only be described as a cultural experience and event. Every now and then something comes along, like Gone with the Wind, or Titanic, or the first Pokemon movie, where the whole world just collectively goes, wow, art. And I feel like that is what we got this year with the madness that was Traitors Season 2. I don't know that everybody here has seen every episode of every American edition of the Traitors. I just realized my camera. There we go. I was like, oh, that's so weird that that's in the image. There's two glorious seasons of the Traitors, and man, it was a wild ride this season. Whether it was Phaedra eviscerating everyone, or Kate eviscerating sometimes everyone, sometimes herself, it was the season. Now, guys, what has it been like for you, 2024, the year of our Lord Phaedra? Being a part of this Bergielicious movement. Can anybody spell Ekin-Su's last name?
I could spell it if I had to. I can't pronounce it.
Same, but it's a beautiful name, and
Yes.
I only wish that my name had quite as much character. What kind of a last name is Action? So, talk to me about this season of the Traitors. How traity you feel?
I mean, this was kind of the tipping point, I think, for a lot of people, and I don't like that in a lot of ways. It's kind of the same thing I don't like about Drag Race. Just once America hits, it's a whole other thing. And with Drag Race, it was America first. So it was like, once America hits on your, like, Drag Race Philippines, well, then you're getting memes, and then you're having a whole thing.
Unless you're Holland.
I think it still hasn't hit for Holland. I think Americans just haven't liked Holland. But, like, and I think part of that is because the balance of English speaking is a little bit different on Holland. I think some of the reasons that the Asian ones do so well versus like España, which I know a lot of people love, but I don't think are as mainstream, is because the Asian ones speak kind of like a lot of English. It's pretty easy to get through without even, subtitles. Traitors now is kind of the same thing. It had been around for a couple seasons other places, but between the fact that there was kind of a bigger marketing budget for this season and that it was all celebrities,
Really took the sting out of people being like, I need this to pay for my medical bills.
now it's a whole thing. Now everybody's on board, and so this was like a big Traitors moment for everybody, and I'm stoked about that. Had a ton of fun watching it. Horrible people. And I'm just sort of wondering what happens now that it's the big thing.
Jonah, how about you? I know that Traitors is one that like you didn't necessarily come to at the same time as us. We had to kind of like tell you about it, but how do you feel being all traitory?
It is overall a fun, interesting show. I really, I ended up enjoying it because of the people on it, less so about the actual gameplay of it, because I find the gameplay of it a little, how do I phrase it? Well, not the strongest. It feels like some stuff is missing out to what make it a really strong, like, social game show.
It's a little sloppy. I get what you mean.
But at the end of the day, it's still, enjoyable, fun, a good time, and I wish everybody the best. I think everybody did, for the most part, great. And again, this was enjoyable. And how many times do we quote, "You're a traitor. You're the biggest traitor here."
You thirsty? Drink up, traitor. Yeah, no. I think you really pointed to one of the big flaws of this show. And I think one of the reasons it's a flaw is it's still so much in its infancy, even though, like TK mentioned, there's all of the international iterations that came earlier. But when Peppermint said in the reunion, I've seen every episode of Traitors. I'm like, if you've seen every episode of Traitors US, that's not really a feat. It was one season so far. And so I think people are still figuring out exactly what the gameplay is. So that accounts for the sloppiness. Like Nico mentioned, in the first season, there was an intermix of regular people and celebrities, and that was weird. So a lot of it is really trying to find its footing. I think they will probably lean away from athletes next season for various reasons, and maybe lean into something else for more contestants, give more diversity among where the contestants come from. We're still experimenting with what works here. And so the contestants are also still experimenting with what they're even doing. So it ultimately created a somewhat uneven season, but it was still enjoyable.
Well, and thinking about the difference between season 1 and season 2, spoiler alert, season 1 was won by a traitor who made it to the end, Suri, and she was like, it was hard lying to all these people's faces, but I have a family to feed, and some lies feeding my family, it's not even a question. And you know what? I immediately just go, there's Rachel. So, this is such a season, and it ends on a really kind of dark, heavy sadness, because the non-famous people not shown here are all sort of like, I grant you grace for all the lies you told. And like, you don't think she deserves it. Like, you really don't. You won a game, but you still won a game by being kind of roof, right? Season 2, I hate the situation around the winners. I don't hate the winners. I don't begrudge them. You know what? Trishelle played a good game, and CT was the workhorse. So between the two of them, they earned their win. But there was something about how we made all these jokes about how MJ scrunching up her pants. Can we get 1 minute? Just 1 sec. Can you just 1 sec? Right? There is something about scrunching up her pants. Who is this woman, MJ, as she walks into the cast of Rent, where I am forced to reckon with the fact that she is standing there in the finale as we are with her. We made this joke that she was secretly the main star.
Ekin-Su, new drag name.
Ekin-Su, thank you. Patty LaPonde. You have it there. It is the most unreasonable thing that at the end of all of this, CT and Trishelle are like, we did it. We broke. We won the money.
Well, and here's what I finally come to on it. I think, Traitors still won. You become traitors in that moment, and that's fine. But you're not. I'm faithful, but only to Trishelle. If you're a faithful, that is faithful to the group. And we then need different nomenclature for if you have like a pact and a specific team you're trying to get to the finale with. But faithful needs to mean faithful, and traitor needs to mean traitor. And if you go after someone you truly believe is a faithful to eliminate them to win, you have now broken the other pact, because you have to sign that whole pact when you become a traitor. I will do this, I will do that.
I won't tell anybody else is a traitor.
When you're a faithful, I feel like there is a different kind of pact, and if you turn on someone like that, that is a level of traitorousness, and that's fine. The whole game is called the Traitors, and you wanted to win, and you won, and that's great. But like, that's why MJ was pissed. They're like, "What's wrong? You kind of screwed her out of $65,000." She's allowed to be upset about that. When she was like, "Yay, we're all winners and we're happy." That's how I felt about the people who were betrayed at the end of last season too. You put faith in someone. You put faith in someone, and they betrayed you. It is the game, but then that's the game, and admit what you did.
And the weird thing is, it never gets discussed that maybe they did it because they wanted to split the money between fewer people. And it's weird because I sort of, as soon as Trichelle's pouch came out red, I was like, oh, she wants to, she and CT have a plan. They want to kick somebody else out.
Oh, good Lord, not my Mercedes. Oh, good Lord, not my Mercedes.
And then the fact that she picked CT, I was like, maybe she is just still a little bit stupid. It was very confusing to me because I was sure that the two of them just both were going to pick MJ. And the fact that, oh God, the fact that CT picked MJ twice, even though Trishelle picked him. I mean, to me, at a certain point, it just became like, did a story producer tell them that this would be good? But my initial thought was they definitely did this to reduce the number of people they were splitting the money between. Yeah. But either way, I fully get where MJ was coming from. And it would be one thing to say, like, I have some solid belief that somebody else is a traitor, that there's something else going on, but they're both kind of just like, I don't know, with 5 people in the mix, there definitely could have been another traitor, question mark. It was a very weird moment. So
a couple of things. One, MJ's goes down and it's green, and we're like, oh, okay, great. This is the second vote. We will also get to Kate. And then the first one, she goes, red, and she's looking at both of them. This poor woman can't stop being an icon and a meme and a legend. And then there's a second red, and she's like, what? And so here's the thing. I think CT planned going into it, I'm only taking Trishelle.
Yes.
Trishelle writing CT's name first, which was a huge gag, I genuinely think Trishelle kind of still suspected CT a bit.
Agreed.
Now, the reason why MJ said Trishelle twice, they didn't show it, but she and CT were smokers, and they used to go outside smoking. The show didn't want to show people smoking. So they spent a lot of time outside smoking, which is why she was a lot more pissed at him, and she didn't write his name down, because she was a lot more upset at that betrayal, because she thought they were actually close and friends.
Do you know why I love that? Ekin-Su took the cup, she has said, because they limited the number of drinks you were given. And so she was just taking a second drink because she was like, great. She didn't say that on air for the same reason they didn't talk about the smokers. When Andy Cohen asked her why you took it, she was like, I don't know. No, you've said outside of the show, it's because they don't give you enough alcohol. But you're not going to show that on air. So there's all these things that affect the story that they don't include. Please continue.
Yeah, exactly. That's another, really great point. So I think that betrayal hurt a lot more for MJ because she was like, okay, we're done. We know we're all faithful. And they made a game move. They are people from social game shows. And I am of two mindsets. Yes. MJ's allowed to be upset by it, but they are also allowed to make a game move. And I think the point a couple of the games were trying to make were, this is, at the end of the day, you can't take something like this personal. You kind of that's the way the nature of the game. That is within the rules. They didn't do it. They did something shady, and you could personally not like it, and you could hold it against them. But you do have to accept. Okay, that is what it is.
I have I hear you, but I think every single one of them who was like, I would never take it personally, took something personally. Every single one of them who said, no, you can't take it personally, did. There's one point where John is so angry he's spitting. And he's like, because you are a traitor, sir! And then later on, he's like, it's a game, calm down. He couldn't even stay calm writing a name on a chalkboard, and he's telling a woman to deal with losing $80,000. And
I mean, it's also like Phaedra loved she loved her Bergielicious, she loved her Bravo girls, and she murdered a lot of them and was very much like, I don't really think got put to the task for it a lot, but definitely her vibe was like, well, I was playing a traitor, so, no harm, no foul, which I agree with. But then the hard line that she took with Dan all people, when Dan is sitting there being like, you were just so good at the game,
Dan literally is famous for being like, I kind of hold grudges against other people from Big Brother.
Oh, I know nothing about that.
holds grudges.
I knew
Every
nothing
one of
about
you
that. He was coming off very much in the reunion like I have no problem with anybody, and like I know, like I didn't take anything personally, but like I was just trying to play and get Phaedra out. And I mean
Right.
that adds a funny new layer to it. I wish Janelle had said something.
Well, Janelle being the most famously, no, I'm bitter for the rest of my life. Are you kidding me? And she is one of the most competitive gamers on the show. And
Yeah.
she's like, no, you actually have to take it personally. Because if you don't see it as a business, then you're just a gambler. But this isn't gambling. This is a game. And it's like being it'd be like if a football player tripped another football player on the field.
Oh no.
It's just not sportsmanly.
The bummer of all things was that Andy never pushed Janelle and Sandra to interact.
Sandra describes it as the 3 worst, most uncomfortable hours of the entire production was the reunion.
100%. I believe it. I completely believe it. In large part because it's either fine or it's a total disaster. And frankly, it was a weird choice to let Andy Cohen do it. I get
Especially when he
why.
has such bad blood with several of these women.
Yeah, I get why from like how reality TV does showmanship way, but I just felt like Alan might have been the better fit here.
Agreed.
Alan might have been a little too close to the situation. He might not want to get rid of the facade on the brand of the television, on anything that's labeled specifically Traitors, as opposed to going on any Cohen show and being like, do I like to name one that I think is still there? I think the gays are living for Phaedra, but the queers are living for poverty. That was another great line.
I really agree with you that Alan would be a bad fit as the host. But Andy Cohen is a terrible fit because Andy Cohen has a cultural reputation for being kind of a little trollmonger man. Like he himself is not a little trollmonger man, I'm sure, but like he is famous for being a little shit stirrer. And part of what that meant then was it kind of felt like, and there's not a lot of ways to put it, but like, when you know a group of people who went through something together and then they have another friend who wasn't there, but that friend, every time they're with that group, is always like, oh, but you remember that time where you guys did that? It's like I was there too. Andy, you're not one of us. You get the dailies. Shut up. Andy, you are not one of us. You literally are the head of reality reaction for the parent company. So him kind of being like, I'm in on the meme was a little fellow youths. And like, that was the problem. Almost anyone
The
else.
hello in particular was weird. Individually saying hello, not like announcing everyone. Individually
Hey.
saying hello.
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 You're not Mr. Rogers. It was weird. It was very uncomfortable. It was very substitute teacher.
So I just want to say first, that situation you're describing is exactly the post-plane crash season of Grey's Anatomy. Yet another reason you need to watch.
What do you mean plane crash season?
How? I even knew what you meant and still don't understand. So
Because they're all in the plane crash except for Sarah Ramirez, and so she is just their friend that wasn't there, but has to.
God.
And that's
Oh, Lord, not Ekin-Su.
Oh, Lord, not Sarah Ramirez.
Oh, Lord, not Sarah Ramirez. She's out there ruining and just like that. Oh, no, not Sarah Ramirez.
I also couldn't help but notice when he is saying hello to everybody, they each get a little quip, except they cut John's. I cannot imagine what got said, but everybody gets a solid sentence. And when he goes to John, he's like, and John's here too. And then right to the next person, not a single word out of John's mouth.
I will argue, somehow, Cherie managed to be edited out of this reunion yet again, because I don't remember a single thing she said.
No.
And now I just feel bad.
Actually, one of the only things she said was, hey, me too,
Yep.
at one point. Literally, kind of trying to point out that she got edited down. Also,
Irony.
John is like a famously disgraced politician in the UK.
Yeah.
Like he is, like us treating, like they kept being like, oh, you're a politician. Yes,
Yeah.
Trump. Like,
Yeah, they let him monologue like he's this erudite man who, but it's in some ways it's so perfect. It's such a weird thing because it's like, yeah, if you are a British politician, you should never be on an American reality TV show. Like, that shit's gone poorly. You could even be a United States congressperson and it maybe wouldn't be like, well, you know, they're garbage because they're here. You would be like, this is just not the highlight of their career. If you are a politician from another country, particularly one that, weird and garbage as they might often be, they are not as bad as us. They just aren't.
Yes.
We're horrible.
Our politicians are worse than most politicians. Yes.
Yeah.
They
So
still
the fact
spend so
that
much
this
on
is where
film
he
that they
ended
wear
up.
wigs.
Yes. So the fact that this is where he ended up, and he's the one that they're all like, speak, give another alliterative speech where you like banish somebody. Okay, you're all real garbage.
Well, what are they going to do if they ask Bergie for an opinion? Hold the microphone down to his crotch? Like, I mean,
Yes.
Yes, they should do that.
So first of all, I found out that Bergie evidently has famously bragged about himself on his reality dating shows. And on occasion, some ladies have backed it up. But more than anything, he was on a fitness competitive reality show about 2 years ago, where the only stills are of him in unflatteringly tight board shorts. If anybody needs more of their Bergielicious, which, by the way, Bergielicious35 is now his Instagram handle. So bless him, bless his, and he even knows how to stand. You know,
Yeah, he's got that kind of sway back, hips forward. God damn it.
Can't help but
It's
appreciate,
fun.
you said it best. He is on the show, because like none of these people are what we're saying about them. Every one
Right.
of them is a real person. We're
Sure.
talking about an edit.
Yeah.
But
And a
as you
personality.
as you accurately said, they portray him as a sex idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, look at this hot big dude who's kind of doofy and just kind of laughs. They
I mean,
never
he
show him
had like
being smart.
2 lines the whole show, and they were sex idiot lines. They were like, "Oh, me too, friend." Like, it was just.
Oh my
he's
god,
just,
it's him and Sheree.
That's so funny.
And that's fine. You know, that's enough to get you pretty far, because he had so many moments where he was just Pete's little sidekick, and that got him some good screen time. Like, you can make it work. Poor Cherie, like, it is just that understanding that we all have that the world is terrible, because once you're over 35 and a woman, it's
And
just
a woman of color, no less. Where there's
exactly
already a woman of color commanding too many scenes.
It's
to
just
not
a
give it to
complete
white
coin
women.
toss. Like, that you are, their chances are not good that you're going to be treated well.
Well, let's talk about a woman of color who was treated horribly, and then treated with a kind of respect that, you know, I don't know how I feel exactly. Peppermint's banishment so early on was exactly as I mean, we sobbed, the 4 of us on this show, being like, it literally is what it feels like to be othered. Literally watching this beautiful trans woman chased off the show, this woman of color chased off the show by an angry mob, literally, was frightening for me, especially because it was led by and not that Trishelle is, and that Trishelle at this reunion was a kind listener who responded, but frankly, a lot of TERFs look just like Trishelle.
Yeah,
And
she's not getting any forgiveness for me. I do not wish her well on the win, and it is because of this, because it happened on the challenge. And because I don't think she goes into the world being like, I don't like black people and I don't like trans people and I'm going to take them down. But I don't think she has ever once thought, am I in a position of power where I get
Yes.
listened to more? Is this
Truly.
really fucked up what I'm doing? I don't think
Truly.
she has ever once stopped and been like, I might be the problem.
And
and
you know,
There's a difference between actively racist and actively non-racist.
yeah. And I personally found myself kind of troubled because I'm naming, series legend Tori Sheehan, literally coolest person ever on this show, is gobbling up Drag Race like it is yummy, yummy dicks. And she is having the best, because you gobble up dicks. Don't look at me. And that's the look you just gave me, Kevy. By the way,
Yeah.
if you go back to that image of CT and Trishelle walking through the woods, as Jonah is saying that CT and MJ were smoking buddies, you can literally see the pack of cigarettes in CT's hoodie pouch in that
Ooh.
image.
No.
And so that you can
Oh my
literally see the cigarette
God!
pack. And it was as Jonah was saying, he is a regular
Detective
smoker
work!
that I caught it. And I
Go
was like, when we're talking about kind of like the bigger picture of this show, and I'm naming, I'm talking to Tori about the show, and I'm like, how there's a queen on here, but I don't want you to watch the show till after season 9 because I don't remember if she mentions her placement. It was really weird to realize how many of my favorite queens of all time, are from season 9. Shay, Pep, and Valentina. Like, that really is a talent-heavy season. So when you're talking about Pep, you're like literally talking about like one of the most significant queens in the show's oeuvre for so many of us. A queen who doesn't just represent, Black excellence. She represents female excellence. She represents trans excellence. She is such an important person in our world. I felt dignified by the show giving her the speech time they gave her. I think she deserved 100 more minutes to speak on the incredibly important topic she was speaking with grand eloquence on. But my goodness, it is just such a bummer that it came in the reunion 10 episodes after the pitchforks.
Yeah, and that they never linked it to Deontay actively realizing that that's what happened and that he was a part of it and that's why he left. They kind of talk about it, but it was also in that very Andy Cohen hosts a reality reunion way where they're like, and we all know that you had a moment when you thought about some things
I'm
and
Andy
then
Cohen,
some
and
stuff
I'm use
happened.
My little finger trap to figure out what I'm going to be when I grow up.
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
Like,
Then what bugs me about that is he'll do that, but then he'll be like, "So are you two broken up? Are you two
I know
having an
that was the
affair?"
next thing I was going to get. He's
So-
perfectly happy,
Okay,
when it's a
good.
real moment of people having like actual human changes of heart and thought. He's like, that thing that you did that we all saw, but then he's like, Ekin-Su and Pete, do you guys fuck?
Batchy, you
What
getting
do
it with
you?
Ekin-Su? Batchy?
What do you?
So I have a question for you, Jojo.
Yes.
You knew, and you and TK, you worked together, and you had the foresight to start us on seasons 5 and 9 of Drag Race. Though it turns out you could have started me on season 2, and I would have been thrilled because Raven is everything. But you've seen Pep's journey for like nearly a decade now play out on television. And I feel like it's really significant that she has gone from not just a performer in a category, right? Because in so many ways, she could have just been a Project Runway contestant. She's good at her thing. She has this talent and she competed on that show. But here she is becoming a celebrity. And in the reunion, they described it as she got the call. They were asking her to be on the show.
Yeah.
How did you feel about seeing this uber celebrity in our world become a celebrity in the bigger stage?
I love Pep. I have loved Pep since season 9. She is a phenomenally talented queen, activist, just all around gorgeous person.
And
I truly she was a loss. And I think that she brought up such an amazing point of a lot of people's first interactions with trans people is through TV, and they treat trans people how they see them on TV, because not many people know trans people within their lives. And it's really unfortunate, what happened. I do smallly think that her little flub didn't help, but even when we watched it, I was like, you can tell she's just nervous. This isn't somebody who's that. It was so early in the game that they really... And here's the thing, and I was thinking about this recently. Nobody technically has to go home. At the banishment ceremony, if there's a tie vote, nobody leaves.
Some editions have a thing.
Sudden death.
Yeah, like there are things where they will decide. They can force a banishment.
But theoretically, speaking under theory,
I'm not to like harp on it too much. I just remember at the very beginning, Alan said that if at the very early on in the earlier rounds, if there's a tie in the banishment, then nobody goes home.
Okay.
But later they have to start sending people home. And that's really hard to set up. You have to, to use some Big Brother terminology, you would have to have people as pawns, but you have people being comfortable being pawns. Like, yeah, just vote for me. We'll make it even, and I'm not going to go home. You have to have two people who are confident that they both won't go home. There was not a lot of information. People just kind of took the first thing they thought of and they ran with it. And it's unfortunate, but I do still look at that as like, guys, like, really? Do you really think right now you have enough information to call Peppermint a traitor? I love Pep so much, and I think she's a perfect candidate to come back. Let her come back. Not even in the Gateway. Let her just come back for season 3.
No, that's just let her come back. You know who else I think maybe needs to come back, but not for the same reason, because he is not a beautiful woman of color who deserves to be celebrated. Johnny Bananas. And let me tell you why Johnny Bananas needs to come back. Because Johnny
handsome.
Bananas' smile is sunshine. And the thing that maybe made me laugh the hardest was when they were like, when Dan, and this is what I mean by like, everybody has their expectations and then says, no, that's not what happened. And you're literally creating a game around me. Dan says, I had to get you out. It was you and your best friend, CT. And Johnny was like, what are you talking about? And like, if you actually watch their show, they kind of hate each other most of the time. It's not even like they would be like, it's the two of us. I guess it's the two of us. I'm surprised it wasn't like, you stay over there and I'll stay over here. And the two of us don't need to fucking talk, because in 6 months, we're going to be opposite each other back over on the challenge. And I don't want to fucking talk to you then. Though it is just now that I am realizing that the challenge is also owned by the same parent company that RuPaul's Drag Race is. And so I am really, for the first time, saying these had to be some expensive port overs. You know, the Bravo people already have the contract locked in. You already work for NBC Universal. But the people who are signed to Paramount.
Well, and you notice they almost never talk about the challenge. They almost never, they talk about Big Brother a little bit more, but they say the gamers.
Again, Paramount.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They do mention Big Brother a little bit more, and I kind of wonder if that has something to do with the fact that it's broadcast. But they call that group the gamers a lot more.
Right.
And they really almost, I do know that they have said Big Brother before, but I can't think of a time when they specifically said the challenge. I know it must have happened early on, but given that is the only two contestants who won are from the challenge, they never ever say the challenge.
And that's even part of what had me kind of thrown off in that regard. When I realized it a minute ago, I was just like, oh my God, that's a lot of people from another company.
Yeah.
And oftentimes these sort of like challenge of the network stars, the challenge itself is really pulling from Paramount's deep bench. So like,
I mean, even when the challenge gets people, like it got Asaf from the pit crew and it got Cameron Michaels from like they're pulling from their own pool. And even like, I think Pep mentioned Drag Race once in her first episode, but then during her speech she says, I'm a drag entertainer. She doesn't say I'm the only one that came from Drag Race.
No, she does.
Does she? Does she say
Yes.
Drag Race?
Yeah.
Yeah, she specifically says I'm the only person from
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, there
She
you
is
go.
the proper name of the show.
She hit
Okay.
That's
all
right.
four
Okay.
I
I stand
Federal
corrected on
Bureau
that
of
part.
Investigation unabridged like that. Right? It was shocking because it felt like where I think I may be a little bit sad about the fact that we don't control the universe in our own little magic spheres. Part of me wishes I could have been like Michelle, you did Celebrity Big Brother. You are a consummate lost, but you're a consummate professional at so many things.
She'd be amazing on this.
With so much to offer. First of all, Michelle would fucking eat every night on the Traitors. People would be bringing her chicken and turkey legs and beef bourguignon. And they would just be like, whatever we can do for you, Madam Traitor, we love you. Save us.
And she's like not athletic. She did well in Strictly Come.
Yeah, she second place, I think.
Yeah.
So where I go in my head is I wish that Michelle could have taken Pep aside and been like, hey, sweetie, just some stuff you might not realize about the quality of social experiment games it's a little tougher than you might be expecting, and people are going to eat every mistake you make. Imagine it's just an entire army of Valentinas all the time. And so, I think that one of the things that the problem almost becomes is so many of these people really weren't aware of exactly how tough this was going to be. And the person who I maybe think thought he knew how tough it was going to be and really, really was not prepared for how it would change him is Peter. Peter, I don't know. I don't want to say Peter played the best game, but Peter played an exquisite game until that final episode. I mean, legend. And then there is this moment where he becomes desperate. And then it's almost like Killer Bob, and he transfers it to Sandra in that moment where she turns on CT. But that moment where he's like, I'll work with you, Ekin-Su, please save me with your magics, is so disappointing for his game, not for him. He's a real person, and this is a high stress situation. Every one of these people did better than I would ever do. But there is that moment that I think is like, I mean, the most I've ever felt seen in my entire life is Venus saying, "Whoa, whoa!" But number 2 in my life is when God's gift to this world, Phaedra, says, "This is not the Bachelor, and I don't have to kiss your ass for a rose." And it cuts to him, and there's this thing that if you've ever been so mad that you see literally white and you turn purple and then you go into that orange shade, and that is no matter what your actual content of melanin is, you go purple and then orange and then pale white. Pete does all of that twice in 3 seconds and then says, "Oh my God, that makes me so upset right now." And like, it is perhaps my favorite moment of television until he hands Phaedra a rose. Talk about a person who
At
in
the
the
reunion.
reunion
You're making it
Yeah,
sound like it's in the moment.
no, that's what I said, at the reunion, who understood how to play a moment. That regained him credibility for how angry he became. Personal opinion.
I feel you. I don't care about Pete. I don't care what happens to or with Pete.
You don't
So
even know the Peter pals.
I recognize that was a big moment for the show. But Pete got so lost in the sauce trying to make this whole thing happen. And he got really spooked
Son of a bitch
when they invited him to be a traitor, and he just never really recovered from it. And I don't care what straight white men do most of the time anyway. I think the funniest thing is the alternate world in which Pete goes, but Johnny Bananas stays. Because Johnny Bananas, like, part of the thing with Johnny Bananas that they never really got to do is he is physically the hottest one there and has unequivocally the best body by like 100 miles. And not that Pete is at all an ugly person, but like Johnny doing the lifting in the mirror would have been an exceedingly different experience.
And then imagine a man who could keep up with CT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the Pete moment in the reunion. I thought it was cute, but I thought what was really funny to me about it is that it really highlighted for me where you really have no idea what Phaedra's going to do. Because I think that people did think that was a great moment, and I think that's why Pete brought the rose, and she did not seem to care at all. She was focused on sending all of her hate to Dan. That was like her main focus of this reunion, and I don't think anyone expected that to still be lingering so heavily and so raw. So like Phaedra, even in the reunion at this point, is still such a wild card. I loved hearing that it really was true. Her strategy was kind of no strategy. I liked some people. You smiled at me that day, so I didn't kill you. That's so random, Phaedra. That's not a plan.
That's a dark god.
Yeah, she is just some sort of eldritch terror who is here to create chaos.
I mean, it was very clear that her plan was to be her brand as much as she could.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a fantastic plan. I'm not reading her for this, but you could tell she was not invested in the reunion because you are sharing space with 22 other people. And, that just means, like, no matter what, if you weren't one of the winners or if you didn't have one of the bigger pieces of drama, you're probably not getting a ton of screen time. So she shows up for the one she knows is good. I don't think she thought there was much there with Pete, but she knew she could stick around with Dan and have some Phaedra moments. So she does that, and then she's like pretty chill throughout the rest of it, because the fact of the matter is, once she was no longer in the running to win the show, the brand is out. And so why waste the energy? And I think that's a very interesting strategy. It's like not too dissimilar from Kate's, except Kate doesn't really have a brand. She's just always Kate trying not to waste too much energy, which, I get. I'm all here for.
That's a lifestyle.
I just want to say I would love a spinoff of this show that's Bergie, John, and Kate, and it could be John and Kate plus 8. Jonah.
Ooh.
That's terrible. You're a bad person.
No, we need to stop. No, put that.
No, don't.
Keep that one in the drafts.
Put that away.
You put all of it away.
Y'all laughed, so it's too late. I'm gonna do 10 more of these.
So okay,
Oh,
I want to
yeah.
talk about Kate, because I seen a lot of people talk about Kate at the finale, at the final fire, and they were like, "Did she have a brain fart that she really didn't think?" No, I kind of really, and she kind of said this in the reunion. I think Kate thought to herself, I came into the game very late already, and I was made a traitor even later. I don't really deserve to win. I don't want to win. I want my friends to win. And she kind of did throw it a little bit. And that's also fine, because she was like, I also think she knew I do not have a chance. The only chance of winning was to somehow convince MJ to vote with her. That was literally it. It was just to convince MJ, and I do not think there was any time in between banishing Sandra, who I am of the mindset at that banishment, Sandra should not have been revealed to be a traitor or a faithful. I think that would make it way more interesting strategy and gameplay wise if that person is not revealed, because now you really have to rely and think on, okay, was she actually a traitor, or were they actually a traitor, or did we just get out and they're faithful?
I love that. I don't think Kevin could ever keep up with it.
Again, another person who's kind of not in the reunion. He was. Well, I mean, that's not fair. We got a whole segment on his name journey with poverty.
Annoyed to be here, Andy.
But yeah, I as she said, she was just like, I was here for like a free vacation. I just had a kid. I just want the actual sleep. Like, get it, mama. Literally.
I also wonder if she was not going to actually rappel down that mountain, and they were like, bitch, you're the last traitor. You go down that mountain or we kill you. Like, I wonder how much it was Alan Cumming being like, do you know what I had to learn to do to be in cabaret? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was a point at which I really did not think she was going to rappel down the mountain or down the cliff, and that she finally did. I was like, oh, this might have been a very different finale.
If she had died.
I'm not laughing. I mean, it was just so ironic if she hadn't died in a boat accident, all things considered. My last thought on this reunion is it feels in some ways like they didn't really have enough for a reunion that they were willing to show. It feels like there was a lot of deflection. There was a lot of not cutting the things. Janelle is one of the most memed things from this show, and she got no screen time.
And they didn't do anything with her and Sandra. Like,
yeah, really. I'm glad they gave time to Johnny Bananas to be like, fuck all of you, I'm too cool for this. I'm glad they gave Peppermint time to be like, fuck all of you, I'm too cool for this. And I think it's really great that Phaedra found time to break in with fuck all of you, I'm too cool for this. But when you have 22 people all insisting they're too cool to be here, and only 8 of them maybe actually are, you quickly see that CT and Trishelle won the prize but did not win the show. And that is my big finale takeaway. CT and Trishelle won the game. There's no question. But the celebrities from this are Phaedra, are Peppermint for her speech. She's going to be held up and championed for the work she did for the trans community in the 5 minutes they gave her. Even Ekin-Su and Larsa had some cool moments in the finale, in the reunion.
Let's say real quick, Ekin-Su beat for the gods. She looked gorgeous in a way that I feel bad for her. Like, her two shows are this and Survivor, like antithetical to looking good.
I think she's Love Island, UK.
She's Love Island.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Different kind of not looking good.
Very fair. But I thought she and Parvati was and she's Survivor. So
yes.
Both of them had really gorgeous mugs, and I was just sort of surprised when I thought about it that we didn't get more chances for everybody to dress up a little bit.
Yeah, that there weren't more balls. And more like big sit-down dinners where someone will be murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's kind of my takeaway, and it's something that I said last time. We're really only, even for other versions of the show, we're really only on season 2. And my big thing is I would like to see more like formal rules where this is a game and the rules can be used to your advantage and they can also work against you. Because a lot of people are playing this game and it just means talking to your friends. Like it's just
eggs. Are there eggs?
Boiled eggs.
Boiled eggs.
Playing this game literally just means sitting in a corner of a room with 5 dudes talking about who you like the least. Like,
we do that every week.
Precisely.
Just like high school.
Just like work.
I really would like to see them codify more rules and make this like fully a game. As I've said before, what I really think it should be is a LARP, but I know we're not doing that. So I hope we get more rules. And then, I really would like to see chances to kind of embellish a little bit, get people dressed up more. Because I'd kind of love to see the challenges be based around some of that stuff as well, instead of always being like, crawl through fucking worms to get one piece of fake gold that says that you're free for the evening. That's cute. It's fun, but it doesn't need to be every time.
Where's the biggest loser you could have a cheat meal shit? Which, by the way, anytime that was the prize, I'm just like, wow, your prize is going home this week. Bye.
Also, I do apologize for laughing a little bit earlier and really trying to hold it together. When you were just talking about getting people to look better, I really just thought about Trishelle coming out with a headband after Poverty left.
Oh my god, she was like, it's finally my time.
Because she really thought, I ate.
She thought, I came here with 20 different berets, 30 headbands, various fascinators, and then she gets there and Parvati's already doing it and she's going harder. And Trishelle's just like, well, I guess it's just the berets then.
And she's so mad that fucking Alan is here in all of his gingham because she can't wear all of her best gingham.
Oh, I like your picnic print. Oh my god, I feel so bad.
Oh. Sorry, I did not mean to laugh, but every time I see Commissioner Gordon from Gotham by Gaslight, I lose my shit.
There's some classics, some classic moments.
Oh my god,
this challenge was great. Anyway,
do you know who was surprisingly chill at this? Parvati. Speaking of headbands, I appreciated that.
Management.
Yeah, and that was nice. After some of the attitude we sort of made fun of, it's nice when those people seem like they are in on the joke. Yeah, I think the one I would most likely see return for season 3, Kate style, is possibly Johnny Bananas. Just for how hot he is and how little screen time he got, all of TK's points. But yeah, everything else, I want to see them expand the game style, expand the planning, expand, everything. We're still in its youth.
Can I pose 2 questions?
Of course.
The first question is, from this season, who do you think should come back? Very basic. If they bring someone back, a la Kate style, who do you think they should bring back? And my second question is, specifically from Drag Race, who do you think would do great on this show?
I think the person who should come back is Johnny Bananas because he is such a great competitor. The person I think would be a really lovely bring back would be Pep, but I don't know that she would get a whole lot farther, unfortunately. You know who I would really love to see on this? Candy Muse. I'm no fan of Candy Muse at all.
Great
Oh
answer.
my god.
But she is.
What the fuck?
I'm the juggernaut, bitch. And
Oh my God,
she would
absolutely.
charge through that fucking wall. I really don't think there's any stopping Candy. And I honestly think like Bergie can be as many funny masculine jokes as we make about him, but Candy Muse coming at him in a dress, he would be like, I don't know what to do, and like would shrink into himself and would die. And so I just really think that Candy Muse, I think Alan would be afraid of her. I think she would
take over the whole show.
Yes.
A drag queen would be especially interesting because, I when I say drag queen, what I mean is a drag queen who is male during day and works the female illusion at night would be particularly interesting because there's a lot of times where they're not going to be serving you glamour. I really like...
Yeah.
Pep is all woman all the time and is raised in drag, so her womanhood is elevated at all times. And I feel like Candy Muse is looking real rough as they rappel down that cliff.
I'm not a traitor. I don't know why you wouldn't just believe me.
And then hopefully it just gets very gaggy when they go to sit down, but I don't know. My bring back, I mean, I do want to say Peppermint because
that is my second, absolutely.
Yeah, because I would like her to get the screen time. Wouldn't it be funny if they just brought Kate back every season?
Yes, like
She should be the
Shangela.
co-host.
It's just like always Kate. She would be a fantastic co-host.
She should just haunt the castle. She
Yes.
should just go roaming around, just like bothering people.
Yeah,
I'm just
like
actually
talking
on
shit.
vacation this time.
I guess I'm gonna say if it's not Peppermint, which like I think, I mean, Peppermint's biggest thing is like the platform of seeing trans people just living everyday lives is so important. It doesn't have to be Peppermint, but like that's an important thing to remember for shows like this. So then it's probably MJ. MJ really, I don't know what to do with MJ. I think there is such a person and such a personality under there. I don't know what to do with her. But I have not stopped thinking about her since this moment. I have not stopped thinking about her.
The fact that this was
Yes.
in the little clip show they did, and it's not even, it's the full clip of her just standing there and then pulling her pants up.
I always think that this, because I misread the tweet every time. I always think it was posted by Natalie Portman, and I'm always like, guys, Natalie Portman loves the Traitors.
Even she needs to know what's up.
Natalie,
Could we have 1 second? Could we have 1 second?
I need 1 minute. Can you just get just one
Could we
minute?
have 1 minute?
Just 1 minute.
Can we just have 525,600 seconds?
I think it's really crazy that Peter's group of friends are called the Peter Pals and not Bergies. So okay, let's wrap this up before I can find any more jokes.
So for me, bring back Janelle. I think Janelle is everything. Let her be a traitor. Well, I mean, they can't because everyone's just going to suspect that she's a traitor again, and it's fine. I love her. Obviously, bring back Pep. For me,
Oops, all traitors.
Oops, all traitors. For me, okay, I kind of would love to see Blade Jade on this. Sister, I'm a faithful. Honestly, it'd be very funny. Sister.
And him coming for Alan nonstop, and then her coming for Alan nonstop would be night and day delicious.
Oh my God, coming for Alan. Alan coming.
So Jonah, you said you would love to see Plain Jane, but did you say your return? Oh yeah, you did. I'm so sorry. It's Janelle. It's my queen. I just thought that was such a beautiful answer. I heard it in my head first. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we rank these sons of bitches and bitches proper in a 22 man woman traitor faithful rankoration.
I've said my piece.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go full rancor. Let's do this. If I have one other thing that I do want to say that season 1 had in its finale that this season didn't have in its finale. In season 1, somebody literally went, "Yeah, I'm famous. I don't need to win the money. It would be really mean if I took the money when I'm already a millionaire celebrity. I'm out," and left in the finale. They didn't let anybody in season 2 show the difference in financials. And that's something I've mentioned in our discussion of, just to use Pep one more moment, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars. Part of why they have to compete for the win is because none of them are going to be told they were the worst that week. A seasoned celebrity drag queen with a high booking fee can be told one of your equals sent you home, but cannot be told you were the worst this week without it literally hurting your booking fee. So with Drag Race, when they come back around for All-Stars, there's an expectation of sort of like elevation, of exaltation. You know what I mean? And with the Traitors season 2, even though some of them were politicians and some of them have won multiple prizes and some of them have maybe won hottest guy from Bling Empire, the E online poll. Hey, Kevin. They were all treated like the same level celebrity. And that is something that I think leveled the playing ground in an inequitable way. It made people like Pep seem that they had the amount of competitive experience that somebody like a CT does. And while Phaedra proved that she did, it sometimes did maybe take away the realism that not all of these people were operating from the same quality of experience. So just a thing that I'm realizing looking at this particular finale image, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We ranking?
We ranking.
All right. Ian Rankin, famed crime novelist. Let's do this.
Kevo, do you have it or do you want me to do it? You got it.
Oh, why did I bring that entire window? I just want this one.
All right.
We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe.
We did it, Jojo.
We are ranking how they did, how we feel about them.
How hot they are.
No.
All right.
I mean, we can, but
There isn't
It's factoring into my calculus because otherwise he's like a C.
Yeah, there is a Sunday split level of Johnny Bananas is one of the most beautiful men to ever be on reality TV for me. His game was taken from him. So I'm going to give him an A in absentia. For me, he represents somebody who could have done better.
I get that.
I guess I have a hard time voting or ranking because he was the first murdered, and it's hard to know exactly how well he would have done. I know his legacy from the challenge precedes him. Is it going to be? Is this a Dan situation where everyone's like, Dan would do great on Traitors, and then Dan's strategy flopped, and it's like, not to say that he would. I just don't know if I have the full information. I'm also going to vote. Oh, did I vote B?
I voted B. So the pros are he is super studly. I thought saying to Alan while he was still there, what's it like to be the second dressed person on Traitors, was really funny. Between some of the personality that he showed in the one episode that he was there and then what he showed on the reunion and the fact that I know he does well on the challenge, I think he would have done well on this show. So that's why I'm going with B.
I think I am also going to go with A for the dream of what could have been for Johnny Bananas. You know, I even hear where he wasn't on long enough for him to justify a super high ranking. But I'm probably going to give Pep an S. So if I'm going to give Pep an S, then Johnny Bananas gets an A for being hot enough, cool enough, and someone I wish we could have seen more of. So that's my vote for Peppermint as well. I'm going to give her an S.
I'm in on that as well. I think
Yep.
Peppermint. I'm gonna add the S to her name so everybody remembers.
Spearmint.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't want
Ooh.
to take her name from her. Right. That's sort of like alt mint naming. But I sorry. I genuinely think that Peppermint deserves so many more opportunities to shine. Her light is so beautiful, and that she didn't get to show that here is unfortunate, because I to this day can't think of one drag queen who made it all the way to the end on Survivor in full beat. So Jonah, where you at?
I didn't mean to put her as a B. I wanted to put her as an S, but I clicked too fast. So, I ranked her as a B, but she's an S in my
Aw.
heart.
I gave her an S, so that'll balance it out.
Peppermint.
She's the best.
All right.
Uh,
I just want to say they credit Marcus as fashion entrepreneur.
yeah.
And what they really mean is basketball baby. No, I'm sorry. That's so rude. What I mean is basketball, baseball, and Haynes baby.
There's
I
some
thought-
golf in there too.
There's some golf in there. I actually think that Marcus's father, Michael Jordan, is one of the very few celebrities that cares as much as he says he does, and he has a long life of incredible acts of selflessness under his belt. So this man comes from a wonderful family, and that speaks to the quality of who he is. Who was he in this game? A D. We were told he's so smart, and then he didn't do one smart thing. That's me grading Oz on his quality of quiet.
To be fair, he was the second murdered, and for probably within good or well reason, in the same way of Johnny Bananas. I think this was probably one of the smarter murders, because based off that challenge, they were like, man, people really trust Marcus. They think he's smart. They might look to him for answers. We have to get him out now. I don't think we really got to see a lot of his gameplay.
All right. I'll change
Yeah.
my answer to a C then, because you're being so incredibly convincing.
But who could get a D?
I would give Bergie the D. Wait, what?
Huh.
Oh no, don't worry. We'll get to it.
I really did find him. I agree with changing it just to C, though. That is what I was going to rank him to begin with, because I feel like I am saving D for like people I actively dislike or think are that stupid. He mostly just didn't make any impression on me whatsoever. Plus, Nepo is not really a talent to get you on a game show.
This isn't my joke, but Nepo babies to the tune of Muppet Babies. Nepo babies.
No, we don't want to get copyright hit.
I'm
kidding.
I do want to say, just on that note, like, he was very clear to try and build his reputation on being himself. TK, what was your ultimate vote on Marcus? Were you a Marcus Jordan guy, or you were like, I give him I don't have a good joke. I'm sorry.
It was a flat line, so it was a D for me.
That's fair.
Well, that is the first time a Jordan has come in last place for anything since baseball. All right, let's talk about...
I know that from Space Jam.
I
original, not
almost
the
said
remix.
Kobe, and then I realized, no, I mean Jordan in this instance. Yeah, really limp wrist Jordan. Max
Like
not
him in
being...
college.
Max not being at this, evidently a brief thing I read, has to do with his commitments to Dancing with the Stars and filling
Makes
in for
sense.
the gentleman who is temporarily not on the show as a result of taking care of his wife who had the traumatic brain injury. I'm actually a Max fan. I grew up, my best friend as a child was a competitive dancer, and she was a jazz modern dancer. And so I went to a lot of ballet growing up. I went to a lot of opera growing up. And guys like Max, when you talk about classically trained dancers who know how to point their foot coming down the fucking stairs, it's shocking to me what a talent he is. And that he just didn't get to be that talent on this show is a bummer. But his gameplay was a B at best, unfortunately.
Yeah, he got a C from me in the ranking because, unlike Marcus, he didn't totally flatline. He was there for long enough to make kind of an impression. He survived some attempts to get him out before he was eventually banished. Or was he murdered?
No, he was. They banished him, and it was the thing that broke Deontay because Deontay.
Right,
Yeah.
because that was the second time that happened. Yeah. So yeah, not a great gameplay, but not an absolutely abhorrent one.
No, I disagree, and I put Max in D. I get that he was kind of upset about everything, but like the episode he was eliminated, he was just acting really weird, like just refused to defend himself.
I think he was a big bitch.
Yeah,
It was-
and it made him look very suspicious, and that's not the other player's fault.
And it was just weird. I can understand if it was one thing where it was taking a toll on him on Deontay, and he was just didn't really know what to do and dealing with. Okay, there's a lot of pressure that goes into being in the social game. You have, and they said it in the reunion, you have to lie, you have to backstab, especially if you're a traitor. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. It is a lot to hold on. The average person's psyche if you're not used to doing it. That being said, it just, if it just feels weird. It felt really weird. It left a weird taste in my mouth.
Yeah, and I think he brought some of it on himself. I think some of it he was wrongly persecuted, so that's why I think I'm going to go with a B.
I'm giving Deontay an S. It takes. He played a horrible game.
Yeah.
He never believed it was Pep for 1 second, and then voted with everyone. He was so clearly physically made to feel ill by his decision that even though each and every one of these contestants has a psychological analyst who is associated with them as a therapist who's able to get them through the hardest parts of this gameplay, he clearly lost himself. And the next night, when he made a decision he regretted, a non-violent decision, it wasn't like he punched a wall and could never take back that he committed an act of violence. He, in a vote, eliminated an opponent, a competitor, as a man who is a boxer, as a man whose job is you eliminate your competitor. He did his job amazingly, but he had the emotional, mental, and personal intelligence to say, this is not for me, and I will not be well if I stay. That, for me, makes this guy a legend and a hero. He speaks about the importance of mental health, and whether it is by speaking it or making the decision, he made a choice that too many people will not make in life, and I'm just floored by his kindness.
I give you a lot of credit for that. I gave him an A for those same reasons.
Yeah.
And the reason it's not S is because, he did also allow himself to be shooed into...
The worst first 2 weeks ever.
Yeah. So he does need to get a little bit of a ding for that. So that's why it's A. But so many levels of respect for speaking about it a lot and then ultimately making a decision that was right for him, but then also made something of a statement. And, I think all around a great guy, just not a great player of this particular game.
Jojo, how you feeling about Deontay?
I put him at B. I again, ranking some of the earlier people is a little bit difficult because it's hard to fully rank everything, really have a good idea of their gameplay. But I put him at B because I think this is a man who has a heart of gold, who I think we kind of just saw in the moment realize this kind of game is not for everybody, and how much of a mental toll it really can take on people to make decisions like that, to banish people, to kick people out, and how demoralizing that can be. So I respect the hell out of him. I think if he was just maybe had a better mindset, or I shouldn't say a better mindset, a different mindset that was more geared toward the game, I think he maybe could have been a stronger player. So that's why I put him in B.
All right. I don't want
Ekin-Su.
Oh, is this Ekin-Su?
Right?
Oh, this is Ekin-Su.
Is it? I can't read it back.
I wasn't sure if it was Ekin-Su or Larsa. I am going to give Ekin-Su an unforgettable B. And here is why. She didn't play a particularly clever game. She's just memorable.
Yeah. That I did B for the same reason. She didn't play a bad game. She
No.
got killed. She got killed. So, we never got to her having to really. She made it as far as she did, which is, that gets you up in my ranking. She got killed in a way where I don't think necessarily you would have very easily noticed.
She Ekin
Yeah.
Ekin Cup.
Yeah, she didn't get banished. She got specifically killed. And who knows? I easily could have seen her being part of the group with Peter. I'm not using that name. It's stupid. I'm not doing it.
I could see her be the MJ at the end. Sure. What?
Yeah.
No. Wrong color. Don't. War. No. Oh.
Yeah. All of that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, when she made fun of Parvati's British accent, and I wanted to be like, no, honey, that's what you sound like.
Well, and
Sorry.
then when Kevin was like, yeah, I'm not going to learn Poverty's name, basically. And Kevo
Don't.
had the brilliant point of, well, Kevin actually is from Asia and
Yeah,
might
he's an
feel the appropriation of an Asian name doesn't fit his worldview.
Yeah, he's not
And-
obligated.
The same way that oftentimes,
her.
people say Juan and not Juan. You know what I mean? Like it's a difference of quality there, and the pronunciation. Okay. So did everybody give their Ekin-Su? Jojo, what would you give Ekin-Su?
I gave Ekin-Su a C. I love her
Ekin-Su,
name.
got it.
I think she's hysterical, but I don't know if she had a lot of gameplay. I don't know if she was really involved in a lot of discussions. I don't really remember. Really, what I remember is her just walking to her
Her slow
death.
death.
Her slow
I
death.
can
which is-
feel the poison, everyone.
it
I
was
can't wait
so
till she comes
dramatic.
back next season as Arbaku.
If it wasn't for that, she genuinely might get a D from me because she made so little impression on me otherwise, and not in like a passable way, like Jordan did, in a like annoying way. But like that the hilarity and entertainment of the poison slowly taking her body, that episode is what brought her up to a C for me.
Can I be honest with you guys? Larsa gets an A, and can I
Oh.
tell you why Larsa
Yeah,
gets
you better.
an A?
Please do.
Because the phrase "you're so selfish it's weird," or whatever version, how selfish you are is weird. I have wanted to say that to every third person since Lauren Thompson in the first grade, Lauren Del Rey in the third grade. Maybe I have a problem with people named Lauren. No, I like Lauren Tom a lot. So
You
this
too.
quote really, I felt like this was a real person on television who never should have been in a reality competition. And if what you're asking me is, would I score a third grader allowed to play in the Super Bowl at the same level which I would score Taylor Swift when she plays in the Super Bowl? Clearly not. The third grader is on a much lower scale because Taylor Swift can do anything with her mind powers. So I think that Larsa, as a non-competitive game player, really tried to be a real person. And for that, I applaud her and I give her an A, especially once her boyfriend was divorced from her in the show. Yeah, I genuinely think she did an admirable job, honestly.
What's funny for me is I feel like she made so little impression on me that she might be my first D. I'm a little, who is this woman? I feel like she was cut so early.
Scrunch your pants.
and She affected the gameplay. Could you just give me 1 second? Just 1 second?
One
Just
second.
one more second,
1
guys.
minute. Can you wait outside for 1 minute?
So awkward. You're adults. Come on.
It's not a clubhouse in a tree, you guys.
No
Oh.
girls allowed.
No girls allowed. Oh man, I hope that all of the guys from Traitors season 2, including John Bearcow, that is his name, form a boy band. And
But not how you think.
and I hope it's called No Traitors Allowed.
So
you
I'm
guys might
following.
be able to talk me up, but go ahead.
I'm falling right in the middle of you two. Well, not even right in
Okay.
the middle. She's a C. The C is because she did get a certain degree far. But she was boring. You did provide some evidence for one good line. I still don't really remember it. She didn't really stand out. She didn't have a lot to say at the reunion that made her interesting. She didn't have a good response to... She's a housewife, so she knows what Andy Cohen does.
So wait, are you just calling her Ariana Medium?
Ariana Tepid. Yeah, no, she's not a total flop for me, but she is flop adjacent, so that's a C.
How do you feel about her high pony, JoJo? Do you think she's an Ariana Grande? Are you also giving her an A- for Eternal Sunshine?
No, I'm just more impressed that Ariana Grande really got into improv. Yes, and she was she's trying to do sketch comedy. She's trying to get her SNL gig, honey. I actually also put Larsa as an A. And the reason why is because Larsa is one of the few people who clocked Dan as a traitor immediately.
Amen.
And so that to me tells me that she was a little bit more observant and aware than I think maybe her facade lets on, that she might have a little more gameplay and smarts to her. I kind of thought her banishment was bizarre, that people were like, literally her boyfriend was banished 2 nights before and they were like, yeah, she definitely banished her boyfriend.
Basically said she didn't cry enough. And that was one of the most, and I feel stupid saying it, but that was one of the most anti-feminist things I've ever heard in my life. A woman didn't cry when her impressive boyfriend was banished. This woman's fucking impressive too. That was so uncomfortable.
It was just a little weird, but I give her the A because even though she was there for a smaller amount of time, maybe a little more closer, like it would be like an A- or B+ or something. But I'm gonna average it out to the A. She has a little more gameplay to her, and I just remember her banishment a lot more than I remember a couple of other people's. So I find it she at least sticks out a little bit more in my mind.
I love that. All right. I feel horrible because I keep going to call this woman Morgan McMichaels because I don't remember her name.
There's another one. Who's this woman? D.
She is a housewife.
I'd like to talk out of D-ing Larsa.
I feel terrible because I clearly remember who she is and what she added to the show. She was a housewife that challenged Phaedra. I believe this is the woman that had the antagonistic relationship with Phaedra, but was like, look, I'm going to be in line. And if I'm not mistaken, Tamara, right? Tamara?
I think so, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Tamara chose to leave the show. Basically, she had like a medical emergency and was like, I'm either going to leave or I can be murdered. And they chose to murder her instead of portraying it as she left. The problem was, and this is something that I think is really significant in a way that matters. They're never going to put Sasha Velour on the motherfucking show, right? Because what is she going to do? Traitors under the hat! You know what I mean? So, but if Sasha Velour wound up in the same season as Valentina, they would instantly be at such a disadvantage because not that they specifically were nemeses, but they have such a preconceived notion of each other in competition. I feel like Tamara might have had a really more engaging season. I don't think she would have made it to the finals. I don't think she would have won, but her season would have been more engaging if she wasn't clearly outshadowed by somebody in her same lane, a shit stirrer on a Housewives franchise. And I think that's why I have to give her a D. Her game never got off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a D for me. And you nailed it exactly. Her game never got off the ground. Her stuff with Phaedra didn't really stick for me. Yeah, she's not someone I'll think about again.
It took us 2 minutes to find her name, so the show did not do her the favors that I'm sure her agent expected it to.
But I think I honestly feel like she didn't really do herself. Because again, she's another one who I do remember the reunion.
Yeah.
And you've got to play a little bit. That's the back and forth of this thing. That's why I'm like, just make it a LARP so they can act. Even if it's bad, they can act badly. And, I feel even more that way now that I've seen Alan out of character talk about the show. Because for me, one of the funniest things about a LARP is when you are playing, but then you have to go out of character to talk rules or like get a whole scene done, and you all are yourselves for a second. That's where some of the funniest humor comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have to be able to take it too seriously and not seriously at all in the same time. And what I do like about the show is there are opportunities to not take it seriously, but you've got to lean into it and play a little bit. And that's why Phaedra, like, kind of being Phaedra at all times is always on just dancing on either side of that line.
Yeah.
And it's why she's so memorable. And, you know, Cherie, unfortunately, I love her and I think the show did her dirty, but she's getting a low ranking either way because she was too serious the whole time. But that's, yeah, Tamra just like never attempted to camp it up at all or to do anything to play. And so it's just meh. It's a flop.
Sometimes it's got to be Pat's or Gino's, not the goddamn Liberty Bell. It doesn't always need to be such a serious thing. Speaking of some of the most amazing things about Philadelphia, Jonah, what is your thought on how Tamara's whole shebang, her gameplay and ultimately her unceremonious ending played out?
Realistically, I put this really nice woman as a B, probably a little bit closer to C. Again, didn't really have a lot of gameplay. There wasn't, because she wasn't really focused on a lot. It's hard to like really remember her. I don't really think she had a lot of standout moments. She's probably close. I really don't know where to rank her because I don't know if she was in the best mindset to really play with everything that was going on medically. So it is hard to fully judge, but I put B, probably closer to a C.
Yeah, it's really tough to always be clever and fair, and it's you got to just kind of have a score. Sometimes it's just like I wish she did better, I wish she did better, but it's an S. I don't fucking care. I don't care. I don't care. Janelle is my whole world. I don't care. I don't fucking care. S. She is everything. She's a goddess. She's a queen. She is an entrepreneur. I want her to put me in her backpack. She is everything. Her gameplay was okay. She still managed to get an unbelievable number of shields. She managed to deflect off of herself for an incredibly long time. So much of her is still more human than machine, despite the kind of games she's been on require you be less human to win. And it's that she shows those really ugly cracks. It's that she lets the pain in and that she will just while the fuck out on you. I love that. She is a publicist driving through the front of your restaurant, and I just want to be the pedestrian in the way. And I really love Janelle in so many ways. And S mommy, S.
I could not go full S. I do not have the experience with her that you have. I went A, and part of that is out of love and respect for you. I know that you are a big Janelle fan.
Such a big fan.
And so I want to give her flowers like that. She has one of the top 3 most memorable moments. For me, that shoots you up the ranking. She did not play a bad game. She just didn't play a great game. I think Janelle's banishment is right around the time where you actually are starting to play some kind of psychological game, even if there are no rules to the show. Before that, there were just kind of too many people. You are not playing any kind of game. Trishelle didn't do anything investigative when she got rid of Pep. She just picked somebody and she was a hot white girl who got the crowd to go against somebody.
Transphobia.
Yeah, that's not like a game. That's just being a fucked up person. But right around the time that Janelle got, I mean, like even you're the fucking traitor. You're the biggest fucking traitor I've ever seen. Like that in and of itself is where the psychology of the game starts to come into play, and the numbers and kind of realizing who you've got to get on your side. And she got there. And I think her banishment really helped me to kind of see how certain things could and would go. So I give her a lot of credit, but if somebody said B to me, I wouldn't tell them they were out of their mind.
I get that.
As I said to Kevo earlier today, did you know there are people that don't love Kate Chastain, just like don't want to like mortgage their house to buy her shoes? I fucking hate those people, and I don't want to know them. Anybody who would give Janelle a B does not deserve our Dami mommy. My God, step on me. Jonah, what do you think?
So I rate Janelle an A. This is my queen. I love her. I love her so much. She would be an S. I do think she needed to revise her gameplay just a scooch of focusing on the social aspect just a little more. Granted, maybe she did and still, happened, so I don't want to fully comment on it. But I do find that she's an incredible game player. I mean, if I was there and I'm me and I'm aware of who Janelle is and I have all my knowledge, I would go, oh no, she's not a traitor. The way that she aggressively went for shields, I could tell that she was a faithful. And she's somebody that you can, if you're working with her, she's smart, she's talented, you can bring her to the end, you can trust her. So for that reason, that's why I put her in the A. I think she had an iconic moment in the season. We still talk about it. We still joke about it. We still meme it. Not quite an S, but an A S in my heart, A in practicality for me.
Yeah. A. I think because she didn't make it further, I can't really give her too much higher than that. But this really is like the turning point of the season of eliminations, where I feel like this is who I think of as the cast of season 2 of the Traitors at this point. We're really coming down to the big eliminations. And so we have Dan up first. I want to say B. But I'm willing to be talked in a direction. Yeah?
Yeah, it's a B for me. I mean, it's tough because you're like, well, why is Janelle getting an A and Dan's getting a B? For one thing, Dan never gave us a moment. Dan was part of moments because he's a good patsy for a moment, but Dan is not witty. Dan is so kind of, but he is
straight
smart.
Man.
Like he has a strategy, so it's not like he's a stupid person, but he's a stupid reality TV performer, and I don't enjoy watching him unless somebody else is making fun of him or like he's part of a situation in which his way of being makes the situation funnier because of the way other people who are actually funny are there. He is getting a lower grade, even though he played a lot of strategy and really had some solid ideas and was going for stuff, because he panicked. He choked on a test. And you don't get to, if you get to the test and you still choke, you still failed that test. Even if you were doing great in the class before that, you still choked. And as he himself said, he always does these things and it's always turned out well for him. He just did it wrong in this game. He thought he was in his comfort zone and he wasn't, and he choked. And so, great game got him up to a B for me, but it's not taking him further. And neither is anything else about him on the show.
I think the reason I'm going to default to an A on Dan is the same reason I feel if maybe Tamara had also been the worst picked traitor ever, because you should not have two housewives as the first two traitors. And Phaedra was the obvious. I think Dan played the best game he could. When you are playing opposite Nathan Lane, the best you can hope to be is Matthew Broderick at an A. And if Phaedra is the Nathan Lane of this producers, I think Dan really played an admirable Matthew Broderick. That said, I would die to see Poverty as Carmen Gia.
I put Dan as a C. His reputation precedes him. I know a lot about Dan from Big Brother. I've seen a lot of the big plays he makes, and they talked about it in the finale. Dan's really fatal gameplay had nothing to do with the shot he took at Phaedra. Like literally nothing of that. He took way too long to try to be any conversation. He laid way too low to a point that people were like, "We can't trust you. You're acting way too suspicious." And That can work on Big Brother. You can float. You can kind of make smaller deals with people to get to where you want. And, he said, when my back is against the wall, there are times where I make these big swings, and it does work out for him on Big Brother. But on a show like that, it can work out. I think he was just kind of went into this with the wrong mindset. And so I could probably argue to put this to a B if I knew how to change my rankings on this, but I don't know how. But so he's stuck at a C.
I love that. And I'm going to say, beyond the ways in which we lovingly bully Bergie a little bit, humorously, and the ways that, I get what it's like to want to be taken aggressively sexually. And so there's ways I identify with Bergie. Did he have a great gameplay? No. Is he very sweet? Is he very handsome? Yes. Did this give me the idea that this man could show up on a season of Celebrity Big Brother and do really well? Yeah. I give Bergie an A, and not just because I like him. The A comes from the fact that day one, the women were bullying him. Day one, the women were mocking him for being a stammery little mess. And it was brutal. And, within a week or two, he really found his footing. This A is an A of the kind of teacher I have been in the course of my life, getting to see students grow. His season started at a D, but when he went out on an A. And as a guy who is known for his D, I think it's nice for him to get to be known for an A.
Yeah, I give him a C. I don't care about Bergie. He's very cute, but he's just kind of sad little follower Patsy man, and that's all I have to say about that.
I don't know. I'm feeling kind of thoughty. I kind of want to give him an S.
Ooh.
I love that for you, Kevo. I support you.
Jojo, as a member of this team, you got to vote, man. We got to know.
I give Bergie a B. B for Bergielicious.
His name is his name is Carlson Bergerson. But because everything puts him as Bergie, the Traitors wiki has him listed as Bergie Bergerson.
That's like when you were listed as Jonah Peak.
Shout out to friend of the pod, Demanda. Putting my name as Jonah Peak, which I love. Honestly, like Fergie who preceded him, where people were like, yeah, Fergie Ferguson. That's not her actual name.
Oh my god, I want to hear him sing the national anthem now.
Fergie Ferg.
No, I want to hear him. I want to hear him sing MILF. More importantly, B for Bergie. He's a handsome young lad. To be in my John era for a minute. He seems very sweet. He seemed like he didn't really know what to do gameplay wise. He's a little bit of a follower as opposed to a leader. I don't think he had the best gameplay strategy. I will say I was pretty ballsy to say straight to Dan's face, I'm voting for you every week. That was pretty stellar.
That was DE, regardless of anything else.
B for overall fine, cool person that I see. That's not like I have anything against, but I can't really put him higher because I don't really think he had the best gameplay.
I gave her an A. You know what? I gave her an A. The headbands alone deserve a lot of credit. She played, man. She is a dummy. Like, there are just some times where you're like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about?
She's
what are
like
you
a
looking at?
1960s sci-fi TV show villain lurking behind the cardboard cutout. She
really and truly, she's like Seska from Voyager.
Yes, yes.
Why did you get pregnant on the Traitors? Nobody asked for that.
A. I don't even have more. Just
100% camp villain. Really funny. And again, like the fact that she just paved over Trichelle's entire headwear plan. Iconic stuff.
She could definitely fight the X-Men. Like,
yes,
really?
100%. 100%. That is accurate.
Honestly, I've turned around on her. I think she's incredible. I loved at the reunion, Phaedra, and they were like, how did you feel when Phaedra told you, like, no one liked you? She was like, great, I don't care. I don't care if these people like me. I'm here to win. Let's just go. She is truly ruthless. She truly was built for the game. I really, in her actual gameplay, I think her only downfall was accidentally siding with Dan too early, and then she just could not shake the suspicion off of her after that.
Yeah.
So that it is unfortunate for that part of the gameplay. But she was, she murdered her friend. She was fully ready to do everything she needed to do to win. So I had to respect her. The headbands, the way she skulked about.
The fact that she murdered Ekin-Su and was like, this isn't like, of course I did that, and like, no, I don't feel bad, and no, we're not gonna have a conversation about it. Where like, yes, every time.
Jonah, what Pokemon has a move called Poison Chalice, and then that's what fights Ekin?
We have to make one. I don't know. I don't know.
Mime.
Phaedra is saying to her, you're a little cold. People think you're an ice princess.
People don't like you.
People don't like you. You need to work on that. And she's going, okay. I don't know.
Smash her face with a frying pan.
The seductress of, I forgot what John called her. The seductress of something.
Oh my god, her being so hurt by John in the reunion gets an A alone.
Yep.
Yeah, no, truly.
All right.
Yeah.
Being her. Okay.
Yeah.
If there was somebody that I could give an S to for being the by far hottest man to be actually on the show, either season, it's Kevin. This man is one of the most handsome men I have ever seen. And the only reason he is the most handsome on the show is because Johnny Bananas is barely in the teaser. It's a real Brando at the beginning of Superman situation. But Kevin's gameplay was lousy as shit.
It was show up.
Yeah.
It was the most, and it's not his fault. He comes from a world where like there's like law. He comes from real estate.
It is sort of his fault.
It's why I made my point earlier, though, where I think they need to think about the people they bring onto this show and where they get them from.
Yeah.
Because I think, I'm not sure he was a great fit for it.
No.
And he's part of why I made that point halfway through this of like, we got to this turning point of who I think of as the main cast of this season. But like, he's actually more forgettable than some of the people that played a good game in the first half. He's just in it for so long that you get used to his face. But that's not
Riley.
really...
Everyone forgets he was a regular.
Kind of.
It was a C for me.
Yeah, same.
Fair. Yeah.
I put him at D. His social gameplay was so bad. The way he was treating people.
Same.
I will say the best thing he did was the best thing he did two really great things. The one was him and Peter's fake feud that went nowhere, was the dumbest plan in the entire world.
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, saying to Phaedra, you have an eye twitch.
Yep.
So out of
Ableist.
pocket.
Oh. Yeah. D.
What really soured me to Kevin to where I was like, you really don't know what you're doing, was when he was trying to go after Janelle and Kate was trying to get information and he like spoke down to her and was a little rude. I was like, oh, you have no idea what you're doing. You do not know what show you're on, and you've been here for a couple weeks and you still don't know what you're doing. I can't. D.
Yep.
Boom.
I'm gonna say something real bold. I have to give Peter an S. And
Really?
the reason is because when you're asking me to when the villain is the better crafted entity, when the villain is Phaedra, right? It's that Sheryl Crow quote, we can't be certain who the villains are because everyone here is so pretty, and Phaedra, I can't sing this woman's praises enough. I understand she's a complicated creature in the real world, and there are people who have been very hurt by things she's done. But when we're talking about a gameplay, this woman is the Sherlock Holmes of reality shows. She defines the genre for everyone else, and all of the characters in that world, no matter how fascinating they are defined in terms of who Sherlock is. And Peter clearly could have been a cult leader, as it is pointed out in the reunion. I truly believe that a man this smart, this handsome, and this caring for the things he cares about could whip a frenzy up like that. He could not help that Phaedra really is, like, when you're talking about the Wicked Witch of the West.
She's more powerful, yeah.
Yeah, you can't help that Dorothy just isn't as memorable as the Wicked Witch. She's just not. And Peter is Dorothy. Sorry about it. Click your fucking shoes, bitch.
I also am going to give him an S only because the whole show doesn't happen
Without
him doing his thing. And he had a really solid strategy all the way up to the end. He was really a tent pole of the entire show, so that's why he's getting an S from me.
I put him at A. He was a little too Icarus
surrender
for me.
Dorothy.
But he's still at A. Peter was a driving force of a lot of conflict, a lot of the storylines this season. He really was kind of pushing. He was a driving force, and I have to, put respect where it is. Also, Peter Pals is just hysterical.
Hysterical for life.
It's not Peter's the main one, and it's his pals.
He literally produces merchandise for the Peter Pals now. Thank you, Phaedra.
I will grab a shirt because it's hysterical.
It's amazing.
I only don't want to put him as an S because I think 2 reasons. I think he got a little too brazen with his strategy, a little too bold without thinking of a lot of the consequences of everything. And then 2, I don't think he really got the game in the sense of it's not just getting traitors out. It's you are trying to make it to the end with people who are going to bring you. And I think if he thought about it a little bit more, they might sound like the same thing, but they're really not. I think he got a little too caught up in the idea that all the traitors have to be banished. That doesn't mean the game ends. You're still going to that final thing and you could still be sent home. That's not that's.
On that note, I think I am also still going to give Peter the S, but because I absolutely agree with everything you're describing, and I think I would be fascinated to see what would have happened to a season where Peter actually was successful and managed to get rid of all the traitors with maybe 5 faithful left. What is going to happen if that happens on a season? Because look what happened at the end of this season when we were left with 3 faithful and 2 turned on 1. Again, this is the Traitors. So Peter had in mind, I'm a faithful and we're all good people, but what would have happened if there were 5 faithful left and everyone turned on each other like Lord of the Flies? And that still would have been a really amazing season of television, so he still gets the S for me.
To your credit and to your point, it was sort of like at the end of everything, there were 2 members from Take That and 1 member of SWV standing at this elimination ceremony, and everybody was like, I wonder how it's going to go. No one's going to vote by band. And it was just so weird that they wanted us to suspend that disbelief as long as they did. And it really is to your point that there is kind of a nature to how people behave in these groups, which is why John is fascinating. And I'm going to give John an A. I actually kind of don't care for the man. If I knew him, I would be unkind. And so
we have a lot of uncles like John.
Yes. But do I actually think that John played a really good game? Kind of, sort of. Look, I might want to slap the shit out of every single person that beats me in Marvel Contest of Champions Battlegrounds, but sometimes I'm like, damn shit, that team is really good. And I think that John, like most politicians, many, ticks, blood-sucking insects, like most politics, John found stronger creatures to suck the life force out of and stay alive. And look how he outlasted so many of the people that carried him here. I mean that genuinely. What a great game he played, whether that's who he is in the real world or not. I'm not judging him as a person, but he was a bottom feeder in this and made it farther than any bottom feeder should.
I respect where you're coming from and why that would get him an A. He just grossed me out, so it's a B. Like, he did play a good game. I'm not going to deny that, but he creeped me out. He grossed me out. The speeches got dumb after a while. That nobody was like, you are weird and off-putting. Stop, like, being Peter's, court vizier. It's weird.
Yeah, it was somewhere between Fluffer and Court Vizier, and all of it felt very Jafar.
But you're right. I mean, it worked. It got him that far. But yeah, screw that guy. He's B.
I gave him an A. I actually, it's maybe closer to B, but A because him fully seeing through poverty and throwing her under the bus at the bachelor ceremony was pretty incredible. I think a lot of people were like that he's just kind of feeble old man, and he kind of is a feeble old man, but he's a little bit smarter than I think he led on to that moment. I do agree. At first, the speech was funny, and then it just became every single time, and it's impudence deserves punishment. And it's like, John, what the frick are you talking about? No, John, the beds are upstairs. Let's go.
D. Everything about John's performance gave me this is the best moment of John's life energy. And his sadness at the end of the reunion when he became clearly aware that he had not gotten nearly as much screen time as he would have wanted, and that was over. D to every single one of these uncles. D.
Kevo just said all twinks who peek at Peter Pan in the Disney parks, we see you. Obviously S to death. Yeah. S to death. This is Sophie B. Hawkins having As I Lay Me and Damn I Wish I Were Your Lover. This is, Reese's Cups having peanut butter and chocolate. This is, day and night. There is no way you could have the Traitors without the unbelievable that was Phaedra.
Good luck finding a Phaedra for next season, because I don't
any
know
season ever again
who can't genuinely bring Candy Muse, and I promise it will change the face of television, and she will absolutely surpass Phaedra. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that would be anything like.
You guys, what if we did a real murder?
Give me Teresa Giudice.
I don't think she has Phaedra's animal magnetism, let's say.
No, but it'd be hysterical.
Yeah, she would flip that whole table.
Oh, what about Countess Luann?
I fucking hate Countess Luann.
Me too, but
I don't. She also, to me, doesn't have. She's like a weird. We'll talk about it another time.
Lisa Rinna. Sorry.
Ooh, Lisa Rinna. There you go.
Rinna, yes, Rinna, 100%.
She'd be great.
Kyle Richards.
Yeah, another one I think would be
Kylie
fantastic.
Minogue for no reason other than I just want to see her be so lucky in love.
I think you're probably looking at Danny, but fair.
Okay, this is U.S. Traitors.
I think like a challenge for like a heart monitor so we can hear Padam.
Oh my god, everything about her. She has just aged into this sort of excellence where we're cheering for her to be on these kind of shows. Kylie, call us.
S for Phaedra, of course.
Yeah,
unequivocally. Is anybody not an S?
I was gonna ask Jonah. Are you also
no,
not?
She I don't know how one woman can have so many sound bites in her.
Agreed.
She originated the role.
Icon, legend, stunning, never been done before.
This is Evita playing Evita in Evita.
Look how even all my rankings are so far. This is wild. I'm not even paying attention.
So I'm going to say something really terrible, and I feel so bad about it. But do you know how, like, in NSYNC, in the Backstreet Boys, and the Spice Girls, in the Supremes, you have to have a least favorite? You know what I mean? Shuri, you are the weak link of this final few, and so unfortunately I'm going to give you a loving and generous B, but I'm giving you a B for the same reason that I give Maroon 5. Shuri, you get the most Maroon 5 award. You've managed to stay relevant, further in the conversation than I ever would have imagined. And I imagine at some point you still think there are payphones. So, Mama, you get a B, but she actually does, and I mean this really from the bottom of my heart, she gets the person I think I would most enjoy having a conversation with from the whole cast, like by far.
Yeah.
Respect. I gave her a D. She just get in there, beta dog, to quote Avery from 30 Rock. It's like,
did you hear that, Adam Levine? He would give you a D. Adam Levine, TK would give you the D.
I would have when we met in 2003. I was really trying, but no longer, sir. Too many weird chest tattoos that I would just be looking at too long. At some point, you've got to advocate for yourself. You've got to ham it up. You got to camp it up. And it seemed like a few of these Bravo ladies just really did not care to do that. So fair enough.
Not prepared.
Yeah. Now you have not made an impression, unfortunately. So, yeah, well.
I haven't ranked her yet, but I kind of want to give her an S because it's really kind of amazing that she somehow had the least amount of screen time despite making it to the top 6.
What the
Yeah,
fuck
no,
is
I get
that?
I get that.
I don't know if it was a case of she wasn't giving them stuff to work with for the storyline. Despite her friendship with Phaedra, they literally had one moment, and it was at the very end before Phaedra's banishment, and she was like, "Tell me, are you tell me, look me in the eyes and tell me you're not a traitor." And that was like kind of it. Like,
And she was just very conflict free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonah, I have a question for you.
mm-hmm.
Would you say that Cherie is the person to get the closest to a finale and appear the least throughout the season since Sherry Pie?
I mean, the point you make is important, though. Like, she did get an edit. Like, she...
Yes, that's my point.
She definitely got an edit. And the problem is it's just tough to know how much of that was just, like, somebody being like, I don't like her, and how much was, like, she really did not give them anything.
What do you think, Joji?
Okay. Realistically, I'm gonna give her a B. And I'll give her a B because she clocked Kate as being a traitor because Kate switched it up immediately. It was doing too much after Phaedra's elimination.
Well, because at that point, Phaedra was doing too little.
Mama was tired. But I just feel so bad for this person. Because she seems lovely, she seems great. I would love to see her on Housewives where she has a lot more screen time to see a lot more personality. They really just kind of did her dirty, and hell, they did it at the reunion too. And I really wish, I don't know, if someone brought it up to be like, Cherie, I don't know if you got a lot, like the audience really got to see a lot more of you, like what was going through your head throughout B, but I want to give her an S because I don't know. It's iconic to me that she made it to the top 7.
Do what's in your heart.
6.
I want
I'm
to
gonna go with.
I just want to hear from like Ellen Pompeo. Like, she just seems cool.
I'm gonna
I
go
gave her
with
B, but
B as well. For all those reasons. I mean, you could have given her an S. This is your game. That's why
I almost chose violence. I thought about it.
Okay. D.
Honestly,
I found her gameplay so ridiculous every single time. All of her guesses were wrong every time. The time that she ran across the castle to warn Dan that they were coming for him because he's a traitor. I don't know how she made it as far as she did. It's insane. How many times has she won the game she came from? Twice?
Twice.
No, like
she is
4 times, right?
No, yeah,
Four
she is like one of the
No,
most competitive.
two.
She's
Okay,
won
good.
twice, but she's one of the winningest Survivor people of all time.
I don't know how she made it this far. It was wild for me, D.
I agree with you. And you know what I want to say? A person who will survive on a desert island would not necessarily survive in the woods. I don't know that a vengeful tiki spirit could defeat the Blair Witch if it found itself in New England. So, like, I think the problem here was the dark forces at work were Twin Peaks and not Survivor. And Sandra, you were a holy grail to me in terms of getting to know you as a reality competitor. This was not what I wanted to see from you, but it has nothing to do with you. And no, it has everything to do with you. This was not your game. This was putting a person who plays badminton, tennis, and it was a mess. And I had to give you a C. Sorry about it.
I gave her an A. She made it to the finale. She is a wild card. She is the other half of You're the Fucking Traitor. So
that is so true.
I mean, come on. She's getting big
Not
points
enough.
for that. Her
She was
pool
just
ball.
thirsty.
Her pool ball math was an iconic moment of utter stupidity, but
Literally,
man, was
lost
she
the whole letter
trying.
grade. Like
Um,
seriously, like a professor the day after the assignment was due dropped a letter grade.
After the assignment was due and you drank the night before. She made for great TV. She went on TV with a full set of braces. She
Which
didn't even make them
inspires
take them
me.
off for the reunion.
Yeah.
You know,
As somebody
yeah,
who's going to need to get these fixed down here at some point,
Yeah.
I really inspired me.
100%.
She was so commanding and strong despite having a clear and strong lateral lisp.
Yep.
What a hero.
Yep. Yeah. So she's an A for me. I mean, she played the silliest game. Like 100%. This is for silly geese. But
She's a Power Rangers villain. This was Darkonda. This was
yeah,
insane.
I mean, this is really.
No,
but
this was
I-
Shakina, and so she gets a D.
I loved her. She got an A from me.
Jojums.
I give her an A.
Here.
Good
She-
choice.
Her reputation kind of precedes her. I'm surprised that she wasn't somebody. Well, I should say I'm surprised, but Phaedra talking about how a lot of her decisions of who to murder was driven by like who she liked and didn't like, and Sandra was with the Bravo women a lot and talking to them, so I'm sure they got close. And Phaedra was like, "Nah, I don't really want to get rid of her." I think her fatal flaw was holding her cards close to her chest a little too closely at the end, and I don't know. There's something about Kate convincing CT in the car, CT telling Sandra, and Sandra immediately going to Kate saying, "CT told me that you think I'm a traitor. What is going on here?" She's not somebody to be messed with, and I think she knew what she was. I think part of me thinks she knows what she was doing, but the other part of me is like, she pressed a couple of the wrong people, but she's iconic. I don't know. She had one of my favorite lines of like, "They need to make challenges for people who hate running like me and Phaedra." Girl, queen of relatability. She knew what she was doing.
Is
My
this
life-
another S across the board with Kate?
Yeah, my
Yes.
life is different. Kate isn't just iconic; she's like uber iconic. It's defining. Just who do we hate? Tell me everything. That's it. She is, and if you were a season 1 fan, you already know. But like ya tu sabe. But this is one
Kind of a bitch.
I'm kind of a
Boys
bitch,
all
and
know.
that's the motherfucking T. Kate Chastain is. I need a cameo. I have not loved a person on a reality show like this since Melissa King, and they are probably the two most opposite people on the planet. Kate Chastain, I'm. Gaga.
Ooh, you say that. I just realized Top Chef is on Bravo. Bring some Top Chef people in here.
Oh no, I really truly
Yeah.
think. Oh
Give
my
me
god.
Antonia.
No, who's the love of my life? He's so angry. John Taysar.
John
I think
Taysar.
John Taysar would fucking rip John
Oh,
Taysar
who do
and
you-
Candy
who do you-
Muse.
Who do you dislike? Katsuji. Give us Katsuji.
I'm not even kidding. Katsuji. I hate Katsuji so much. I literally stopped watching the show for 4 years. I'm not even kidding. Oh my god! But you are correct. The reasons I hate him is because he's probably a lovely human, but his gameplay strategy is nightmare monster, horrible troll creature, and he would thrive on this. Mama would eat all day. Anybody disagree that Kate is an S, that we should just change her name to Skate because the S comes first?
Put her in S top 7.
Okay. Now,
Wait, I think this would. Sorry, now I'm stammering, but I hope we get to enough S's that we do have 7 now.
You guys, if any one of you, I'm not even kidding. You guys, please just lie to me to vote whatever you're gonna vote. But if any one of you gives my beautiful MJ, my precious Mercedes, less than an S, just don't tell me, because
Is she our 7th of S Club 7?
she is an actual angel. And I don't know if they just edited away anything where she wasn't sympathetic, but the only things there were moments in the show where you looked at your friend and said, I feel so bad for her.
Honestly, I did give her an A, not an S. It is the most loving A, because it really did come out of nowhere. Oh, she was somebody who, up until that moment, which I remember us all talking, being like, what the fuck is going on here? Before the moment with the cargo pants and walking out of the room, everybody was like, oh, she's still here? What is she doing?
What is she doing?
She was it wasn't even, I think she had on a few outfits before that too.
Oh, because the black leather number.
And you were still just like, I don't know who this woman is. She's not doing anything. And then that one moment, it's just like,
her in the coffin.
It is like a sitcom where you're just like, all of a sudden you can't see her. You can't not see her.
I fully forgot. She thought it was her. She was like, it's me. She's like, I could feel it.
I can feel the poison in me. Oh my God. Yes. MJ.
Yeah.
Okay. Is she
so
really?
many looks. She is this weird mix of so on the ball and so out of it at all times.
Like a network executive.
She's got that Regina George's mom energy. Why no, honey? Because if you want some, I'd rather you do it in the house. Like,
she's Regina George Washington.
She is a fascinating character. She was not the most excellent player, and that degree of bitterness, while understandable, is not a cute look for a Shaw of Sunset, my darling. So that's why we're taking down a letter grade from S, but iconic. She would be very high on my list of people to bring back.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, her show got canceled.
And for the record, the guy from Shaw of Sunset in season 1, that super motherfucking mega hottie, brutally bitter that he was the first murdered. Psychotically bitter. So I think it might be a Shaws of Sunset thing.
Is she really an S and an A? No. If you take away the meme ability and the weird star power that she has, something about her, you're like, I don't know. Something I have to get to know her. She really didn't have the best gameplay. They said there wasn't a Bravo Girl clique, but there absolutely was, and they all kind of voted together, and they all kind of did a lot of the dirty work for the traitors themselves.
Traitor angels.
I can't really like in my good conscience. She's an S in my heart. But as an actual game player, which is why like I do agree that her bitterness, while understandable, Mama, you did get dragged there. You didn't get there off your own, Sherlock Holmesing.
No, she was definitely Watsoning her way about.
You guys can stop me. It's definitely not above a C. I might go as low as D. She won, sure.
Trishelle?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she's bad at being a person. I don't think she's a bad person. I think she's bad at being a person.
Okay.
I mean, the thing with Pep, that's hard to come back from. And then I recognize that she put in work. I just think if you show up to the SAT and you write C for everything and you get a certain score because just by random chance a bunch of them are C's, yeah, you technically showed up and did a bunch of work, but you didn't do good work.
I actually really, TK, that was literally in my notes. I, for many years, operated as an instructional expert on standardized testing, and standardized testing rhetoric is actually what my degree is focused in. And like the structured origin of the development of language and communication across ideas. And so, okay, there has never in our lifetimes been an answer that was more often correct than any other answer, within like 5% on the SAT, ACT, GRE, etc. It is always 1/4 if it's 4 choices, or 1/5 if it's 5. Trishelle, literally, if you look at her voting record, is wrong more than she's right. And I checked to be sure, and it was not. She has to get a B, the highest. I can't hear an A. I can't hear an S. She played a fine game, but it's sort of that way that Sweet D thinks that Rachel McAdams was just fine in The Notebook, and Britney Spears, you know that is literally Britney Spears sitting on the couch looking at her girlfriends. It's like Britney Spears sitting next to Raven Simone in Britney Spears' in-home theater, and she just looks over at Raven and she goes, y'all, don't you just think that Rachel McAdams was just like fine in The Notebook? And Raven is just like, I saw that you were going to say this, and I completely agree. Sorry. Anyway, I love Raven.
Fascinating image, mindscape to walk us through. It's not a good score to start because of all the stuff that we just said. And then you get to that final thing. And I'm really thinking the two of them, CT and Trishelle, are like, this we'll split this between the two of us. It'll be so much more money. And I'm like, okay, that's gross, but respect for the plan. If it's two of them and they know they're on the same team, they got a strategy, they're allowed another banishment, take that money, girl. This is a game. That she votes for CT, I think, is why it maybe has to be a D for me. Because she's not even doing anything. She's shooting everything in the foot for no reason.
One of the things that I read that she said is that when Alan spoke, she became confused and thought Alan was implying that there still is a remaining traitor, and Trishelle still had lingering doubt that CT was a traitor, and so that's why she prolonged things. I don't know if that is true. I don't know if that's more of her sex idiot crap. I don't know. But she at least seemed a little bit more involved in the game and actively playing. Like, I'm probably giving CT a D. He did the physical stuff, but as far as the game of the Traitors is concerned, he pretty much just coasted through the entire thing. I don't know how he got to the final two. Honestly, he had no strategy himself. He just sort of sat around. He was really mostly here for the physical challenges. And so I feel like at least Trishelle was playing the Traitors part of Traitors. She was playing the game.
Okay, Jonah, I have to ask. I think you are the only person who didn't grow up thinking Trishelle is my slutty hot tub self. And so do you think this woman is basically what if Carrie Bradshaw? She is... I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is Trishelle is if Carrie Bradshaw shopped at Gristedes with food stamps. So what is your take on it? Yeah.
I'm giving her a C. I recognize that she really was trying to play the game. She had her little notebook. She had her notes, the things she wrote down. Here's my 3 PowerPoint list on why I think Phaedra's the traitor. However, I could not stand by her personality. Oh my goodness, she is the most whiny, entitled person on this show.
From day one.
Yes, she's an elementary school teacher.
Hissy fits she threw over not getting a shield, not being protected by CT. She had this massive complex that she thought she needed to be saved at every corner, and it was really grating. It was really hard to watch this person week after week make a fool of themselves, constantly act like a child, and still win. I
And she's been doing this since I was a sophomore in high school.
Yes.
To find that this was her best behavior on a reality show is very telling.
I've seen her on at least 3 seasons of things, and this is by far the most adult, mature, and competent she's ever seemed to me.
I cannot rank her higher than a C. I'm sorry. Props to you, Mama, but the way she thought she ate with this outfit, the way she thought.
Can I just say, in a world where Pep is bringing, Couture and Gautier, this woman bringing her very best Barneys is so cute.
Saks Fifth Avenue.
Mama. Yeah, I give him an A. Honestly, I thought that he mostly voted well. He mostly voted in good faith. I think the problem CT's face is they've sort of agreed to just be dumb meat in a world where other people want to be fascinating. There was a time where reality shows were just about watching you live your life, and that was how he paid his bills. And now reality shows are about Bergie showing off his Bergiliciousness and Phaedra being the most sound-bitten thing in the world. And guys like CT, they're here to live their lives and be good guys. Good or bad, I don't know. But the very Boston shops at Dunkin' Donuts for his gift cards for Christmas for his family members kind of guy that I can
Shut
tell
up, Nico.
Is.
You don't know any of us.
I think as a Jerseyite, I do. And I just think, I don't know. CT is my older cousin Robbie. He is every big brother figure that ever just couldn't do it. Some of us have big brother figures that can, but CT finally seems to have gotten his through things like the challenge in this. And so part of it is just seeing the man he's become from his season of Real World and being proud of that. But this was not an S win. This was this was Gretchen winning Project Runway. This was just not the win I wanted. So, or Leanimal. Another terrible win. So, yeah, A.
I went with A2. Jonah, I hear where you're coming from, but I do think he played a game. I do think he played a good game. I just think coming off as really stupid is part of it. Just coming off as imminently approachable and non-threatening. That plus being an actual workhorse. Which honestly, this game kind of needs. You make yourself invaluable because a lot of people who can stick around and survive deliberations are garbage at jumping over a bunch of floating dock pieces. And he kept himself very necessary that way. He is a big Boston idiot, and I relate to that. And I will always have a certain affection in my heart for him. That was a weird season of The Real World.
Yes. But I'm very happy for Plain James over here. He's really overcome, and can we just give it up? Every beautiful curve and bulge that every other person has had aside, CT's got thick gym teacher thighs, and that is something that you don't find in the real world and on TV the same way. And just good for CT being a thick guy who's also very handsome and not being embarrassed by that at all. That's really cool.
Oh, I gave CT an S.
I thought you said you were giving him a D.
Well, that was Kevy.
No, Kevy did.
They're both equally handsome, so I can see how the mistake.
That's why I got confused.
We are twins. I can see where you maybe got confused of who said what. No, I gave him an S. CT was another person similar to Phaedra who kind of just made the season the most entertaining. Between the prison newsies look, the random one-liners. I don't know how birds evolved and survived natural selection. All birds are dumb. The way he just came for birds, everything.
The way he came For birds.
Not even sexy birds.
I told you that in
the-
confidence.
The way he literally carry people in every physical challenge to get money for, the pot that he eventually won. He made the season. He was very entertaining. His gameplay was a little weird because a lot of the time people spent a lot of time accusing him of being a traitor. So I didn't really see a lot of his own gameplay outside of having to defend himself, which he did reasonably well. He didn't get voted out, so he had to be that successful enough. So for me, it's S because it was a culmination of everything.
All right, you talked me up to C. That's the best I'm gonna do.
That's absolutely fine. I was trying to give you the S so you could have your S Club 7.
I just want to say that I think it's really wonderful that nobody got an average score of a D. Marcus got an average score of a C because he just didn't get a chance to play. Tamara got an average score of a C because she also really didn't get a chance to play. And Kevin was prettier than he was involved, and that definitely colored his score. The S's are all really stunning. We have Pete, MJ, Pep, Janelle, and Deontay. I don't know that that's legitimately the S's because I feel like you kind of got to have a little bit of love for Phaedra, who somehow did not wind up in the S's. Do I not see Phaedra up there? Yeah, I don't. So weird. But, the main thing that I want to focus on is that we are never anything but big fans of these people. Even the silliest presentations of these real life people are still just presentations of characters, and they are edits by producers. And, all said and done, I just had a really great time watching these people kind of play the worst game of Clue and also Sorry that I've ever seen in my life. Mafia. This was among them. It is specifically not Among Us because everybody feels like they're pointing at other people. It is a disaster. It is beautiful. It is wonderful. And I'm going to miss it till it comes back next year. Evidently, since the renewal, they have been focusing on who they will bring in for season 3. And I can't wait to see the decisions they make, in part because bringing back Kate changed everything. So, Jonah, I want to start with you. And I want to ask you, what is your big hope for season 3, regardless of who they bring back, regardless of who they cast? What do you want out of Traitors Trace or Traitors, as it were?
I would love the introduction of a few more mechanics to give a little more agency to Traitors and Faithful, respectively. Give them something a little bit more to do in the off hours. I feel like a lot of the challenges don't mean anything outside of just getting money. They don't do anything. It's just to get money and to see maybe who's trying to go after shields. And so I don't really think it really lends itself to a lot of strategy. I think I just want a little more strategic elements to this game that can help give us these really big TV moments.
I really want to chime in on that because my dream has been that they introduce a new character element called the Secret Agent, who is given advanced notice of things, not told who the traitors are, but are told these were the people that the traitors discussed, regardless of who winds up getting murdered, is given these people had private, had an opportunity to go for the money and passed it up. That sort of thing. Just somebody with a little bit more background knowledge, because I agree, the mechanics are what are going to really sell this game. It's what's going to really set this game apart from something that maybe fizzles in 2 or 3 years because American audiences are terrible and fickle. Kevo, what would you want to see added to the next season of the Traitors?
I'm going to pass because I was not prepared for the question.
So Kevo said gargoyles. He wants to see that by night, the characters come to life, but during the day, all of the traitors are frozen in stone looking at each other, and they have an incredible police lady to help them.
It's just Fergus in a wig.
It's Fergie.
More Fergus. Oh, yeah,
Fergus,
no, I want
yeah.
more castle staff. There you go.
Oh, that's great, Kevo. I really agree, because we obsess
We
over
love
Fergus.
side characters.
Agreed. Teak, tell me, how would you tweak this, Teak?
Like I said, let's get people in glam a little bit more. Let's put people want to be in suits and suits, and people want to be in dresses and dresses, and just as much makeup as anybody wants.
Ooh, bring everybody in a masquerade ball, and they reveal
I think a masquerade ball would be
themselves.
fantastic. I think more mechanics, and with that, more rewards and things you can do. Like even to say, if you hit this particular milestone or do this thing, you get one obscure piece of background information about the traitor or something like that. I don't know. But just like, I really want to see actual play come into play. And really, like, how can I do the thing that's going to give me some tools to actually uncover this person, rather than here's 6 pool balls and this is how we will get the traitors out, which is nonsense. Just to be totally clear, even though I love you, Sandra. Yeah.
So, Jonah, until we come back to talk about, and this is the last time that I have to be like, guys, listen, there's nothing on the Traitors, or there's nothing on the schedule but Traitors and Drag Race. I'm really sorry. This is like the last time I'm saying that, from this episode of the Traitors to an episode of Drag Race, until we come back to talk about the most deserving win in quite a while, and one of my favorite episodes of the franchise ever.
And one of my least favorite.
Well, his opinion is wrong this one time ever. It happens to everybody once. Jonah, what are you most excited to talk about in tomorrow's episode, just to give everybody a little bit of a preview? And where can everybody find you?
I'm most excited to talk about how they yet again gave us another anticlimactic twist. Because if I was Jane, I would be so pissed that my immunity potion meant nothing this episode.
I would literally throw my shoe at RuPaul.
Mama, I'm going to save this again for another week. You can find me everywhere on socials at Peak Jonah. That's PEAK.
Well, it has been such a pleasure covering Traitors with you so extensively, JoJo. We cannot wait to do every project with you in the future, and we can only hope that you love them quite as much as you love Traitors, because it has been such a pleasure to see you come to life on these characters. Tasty cake! That is just my excitement about Tasty Cake lurking, as they said. But speaking of people who were not lurking, Kevo, what is your biggest excitement for tomorrow, and where can everybody find you?
I have a slightly different take on the plain Jane moment, so I'm excited to talk about. There were just so many twists this week, and it was a really wild one. So I'm looking forward to that, and you can find me on the socials at Kevo Really. That's KEVOREALLY. Teak, where can everyone find you?
And even though I thought this was one of the worst episodes of Drag Race in the history of Drag Race, I am so looking forward to talking about how great Saphira and Morphine and basically everybody did. I'm very excited to talk about how great everybody did. It is nobody on the show's fault that the production has lost their fucking minds and just stop trying to produce something with any integrity. It's weird that it has happened in a moment where we have some of the best girls we've ever had, but that's a conversation for tomorrow. But if you cannot wait until tomorrow to talk to me about this, you can message me on any social media platform at TK Elemental. Nico, what are you looking forward to talking about in this objectively the worst episode of Drag Race that no one would argue otherwise about?
I think I'm going to talk about how important it was to make nobody feel disenfranchised by the idea of being a part of the voting experience and being a part of the American electorate and making change, and that nobody should have to go home for their political opinions or their decisive moment declaring their strength and power. And I'm really excited to talk about that tomorrow. I'm coming for you. I'm kidding. He's perfect. So you guys can find me at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION. All over my socials, all over my music. So don't forget to check me out over on SoundCloud and YouTube Music. But there is one other set of things we need you to do, right? Oh, no, 2. I'm so sorry, guys. Homework, right? I guess that's the educational specialist in me coming out. Number 1, like, comment, and subscribe. The important things in life. But if you're going to do one other set of things, number one, guys, we need you to stay safe. It's a spooky, spooky world. And the safer you stay, the cooler it is, because we get to see your amazing faces pop up in those comment sections. Number two, be brave, because the world is scary. Like we said, stay safe, but it's better when you're your strongest self, because when you're your strongest self, you're going to be even better than you were today, tomorrow, and that's evolve daily. So if you guys can do those three things, we can't wait for you to do the other three things, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you then.